Hi everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome to Dubzado's Situations with Sam. I am your host, Sam, and as part of the Account Solutions team here at Dubzado, I love helping to educate you on how to get the most out of your Dubzado account. And along with my colleagues Cameron and Annika, we love taking your calls, the screen shares each day, and helping you solve those questions and challenges you run into while setting everything up. So today on Situations with Sam, I am going over how to create really personalized custom proposals for each of your clients. So you might be familiar with our Dubzado proposals, how they allow your clients to choose their own package and easily flow through a contract and an invoice. But if you have a more custom service, or your business really relies on creating very custom quotes, no two clients are quite exactly the same, you may have felt that it wasn't possible for you to use proposals because they are more structured in nature. Well, in today's webinar, we are going to go over a bunch of different techniques you can use to really personalize those proposals so that you can still take advantage of everything Dubzado has to offer. All right, so let me jump over and share my screen with you. And we are going to take a look at the outline here. So there is a link to download this handout, both in the Facebook community through BigMarker if you're watching the webinar there, and as well in the replay on YouTube. The link is posted so you can download this handout and follow along on your own. So the goal for today is to learn how to use Dubzado packages even when your services are not one size fits all. We're going to be looking at customizing those and creating a proposal template that you can easily update on a client by client basis so that you can provide those custom quotes for your personalized services. And I want to just touch on briefly why using a proposal is important. You might think just to create a quote, well, it's easier just to set up an invoice and then I'll send that to the client. You're missing out on a lot if you're leaving the proposal out of the equation. So the biggest benefit is the ability to go ahead and connect the contract and invoice along with that proposal so that from a single link in a single email, your client can open up that proposal, review what is included as part of working with you, submit that, sign their contract, and then pay right on the invoice. So if you're not using a proposal, you are missing out on that very streamlined flow for the client. Another benefit is really just the opportunity to add your own images and branding to the proposal and really create that immersive branded experience to put your best foot forward. Of course, your invoice is going to have your logo on it, but there is so much more you can do when it comes to personalizing a proposal. And this isn't going to be, a very beginner's webinar, certainly not terribly advanced either, but it does help to be familiar with packages, proposals, building a form, knowing what a proposal does, how to send a form, and smart fields and how those work. We are going to be using all of these elements today, and I'm not going to be going super in depth on what they are. So if you have the handout, you can click on any of the links here to learn more about those different areas. And we don't need much to set up what we're doing today, really just a proposal template with room for your custom package or packages. And I'll show you a few different approaches to setting up those templates. And also your package templates to use as a starting point. And we'll be going over some ways you can set those up as well. So, as I mentioned, we are going to go over 3 different sort of approaches to creating these custom proposals. Let me jump over to Dubzado now. And I'm going to, kind of go over these examples like they're, kind of on their own, but ultimately you are going to be able to, combine and mix and remix all of the techniques that we're going over in this webinar to create something that works for you. So you're not limited to just the examples that I'm showing here. It's just to get the creative juices flowing so that you can create a proposal that works best for your business. All right, so the first one we're going to take a look at is what I like to call the single package swap out proposal. So let's open that template up. And for the webinar, I'm really just focused on the functionality of the proposal. So I haven't done much in terms of elaborating on the design. I've kept things simple. Certainly you can go ham on it. So the idea of this single package swap out proposal technique is that especially coaches and consultants, those types of industries, you might have a call with the client before sending them the proposal where you actually decide together what the best package of your services is. And maybe you do have, those set packages, but you don't want to offer the client a selection between 3 of your packages. You just want to send them the one that you discussed on the call so that there's no confusion. So with this option here, we are just adding one single package element to the proposal template. So we have our package element right here that can be added to the form. And let's take a look at this. So when I click on this element here, we can see that a package has been selected and we have some smart fields at the top. So using the package smart fields, these are going to be a big advantage when you're creating these custom proposals, because as you change information about the package, we want that to update automatically on the proposal itself. So under smart field and the package variables list, these are the smart fields you'll be wanting to use inside of the text box for this package element. So we just have the name, the package item names and amounts smart field. That is how we get that, kind of quote-like table with the, name, description, and price. And then we have the package total as well. And something else we've done here is, you might notice there's no select button. We kind of changed up how you might want to have the client select this package. So under Smart Field and Package, you may know that there are other options besides the select button that you can use to allow the client to make their selection. So we've gone with a large checkbox here. Let me just remove that and come back down. So you might just be familiar with the select button. That's fine, but it might be a little confusing for a client. Do I have to select the package? I thought we already talked about this. So it might not be the best option for this type of approach to a proposal. So we can just highlight that and use the backspace key on our keyboard to delete it. And instead, under Smart Field and Package, we can insert the large checkbox. And that's going to make a checkbox that the client can click into. It's going to be the same exact outcome of the select button where they're adding that package to their invoice ultimately. But by clicking next to that checkbox in the text here, we can just put in I approve this quote. So maybe if you want to do more of a quote, you can put in any text here. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. You can add that text in and use a checkbox instead for the client to make their package selection. So that is an approach to that you might like as well. So this is really all that goes into the template setup itself. In terms of the package. So let me save this and close it. And we're going to go back to our projects page here. And let me just set up a quick new project so that we can take a look at how this works inside of the project. So we set up the proposal template. All of the customization is going to take place within the project. So the big concept you need to understand for this approach to proposals is that when we're inside of a project, we go to the Forms tab and we choose our form from the drop down here. We'll find our single package swap out. When I click Add in this preview modal, so right now we're just previewing the proposal. When I click Add, we are making a fresh copy from the master template that we set up under Templates and Forms. So as soon as I click Add, this proposal gets added into the project, and it's a fresh copy from the original. So any changes we make to this proposal within the project, it's not going to affect the master template. Changes we make to the master template are not going to come back and affect the version on this project. So this is what allows us to create those custom proposals. So now that I've added the proposal to the project, up at the top here, I can click Edit to edit this proposal. I'll close out just in case you find yourself in this view and you don't have that preview modal. Remember, you can just hover over the form here and you'll find that edit link inside as well. So we'll click Edit. And now we are editing this proposal for this project only. So it's copied from the master template, but it's a different, it's like a new fresh copy only for this project. And all we'll do to swap this package out for a different one is just click on the package element, and under select a package, I will just choose the other package that I spoke with the client about. So the idea here is that you would already have your packages created for those different options of working with you, and then before sending the proposal to the client, you're just swapping out which package is going along with that proposal. So that's what we did. And now you can see, because of our smart fields, all of the package information updated already. So you can see we have that different total, different line item, everything is updated. So it's a very quick process just to come in and swap that out. And up at the top, we'll use the drop down to do save and close. That brings us back to the project. So under the Forms tab, you can click Send, and you're ready to send this proposal out to the client, and it has the package on there that you selected. So in this example, it really doesn't matter which package you build into your master template. Maybe just choose the one that you use the most, so you have to swap it out less often. But it really doesn't matter because you're doing this swap within the project, and you can send that out. So that's the first method, just swapping a package out for another one. Let's take a look at another template, and we're going to look at the custom package proposal. So you may have come across the idea of a quote-like proposal in the past. I know we've done a lot of videos on it, talked about quote-like proposals, and by a quote-like proposal, I mean that technique of creating an invoice on the project first, and then on your proposal, inserting those invoice smart fields so that the invoice is just being shown on the proposal when you send it to the client. And that is certainly a very quick way to create a quote, but it comes with a couple of drawbacks. And we're always looking to find new and better ways to do things in Dubsado, and creating a custom package proposal is actually an improvement on that old quote-like proposal method. So with a custom package proposal, instead of creating an invoice first, we're actually not creating an invoice at all. We're still allowing the proposal to do its job and generate an invoice from the package or packages that get selected, but we're just going to be editing the packages directly on the proposal before sending it to the client. So this solves the problem of, creating that invoice ahead of time. The client doesn't, ultimately choose to work with you, and now you just have this open invoice. With this method, no invoice gets created until the client submits the proposal. So you're not ending up with an open invoice, and if they, don't choose to work with you, you at least get to, keep a record of what you sent to them as a quote. Another benefit to this method, and if we kind of take a look at this template here, you'll notice I have two package elements, and I have the same package lined up on both of them. I'll go over why that is. But what's cool about this is maybe you're in a business where there are lots of options for your service. I think catering is a great example. So with catering, the different options chosen by the client might, directly affect the price. And maybe instead of doing a full menu like proposal, you really want to sit down with the client and create that menu ahead of time and then send them the quote on it. But maybe the client hasn't fully made their decision. They want to see two choices that they have based on having different options selected. What is the ultimate price going to be? So instead of sending them one quote, we can now send them this proposal with essentially two quotes on it, and they get to pick the one that they want to go with, which is pretty awesome. This works well for a lot of different industries when you're doing those, more quote-like services. So in terms of our custom package proposal template, in this example, I've added two package elements. Certainly you can have more. You could also just have one. It's up to you. But in this example, we have two different ones. And the setup is just like the last time. We have those smart fields inside. This time we've gone with the select button. And like I said, the package is exactly the same. And let's take a closer look at that. So under templates and packages, I noted before how I really want you to start thinking about packages in a different way, that they don't have to be a set service. They can certainly just be a starting point for what you want to go on the client's invoice. So if we take a look at this example package I put together, you'll see that I've almost set it up to be fill in the blank, so that each line item is set up as much as I can, as far as I can go without knowing anything about the client, putting in all the details and maybe a base price as a starting point, including all the line items that would go into this kind of quote, in this case, both catering and bar service. And in the description itself, I've left more, those fill in the blank areas. So the actual menu that the client opts to, go with is going to be different. So you would have to fill in those details. But in this case, for example, there would always be an appetizer, salad, entree, and dessert. So that part we can template. Now you're not having to rewrite this structure every single time. It's built into the package template, so all you have to do is just type in the details. So this is a great approach to creating packages if you felt maybe they weren't flexible enough for your business. Think about packages more of just a template starting point for what you want to go on the proposal and then ultimately the client's invoice. So let's hop back over to our example package, our example project. And in the Forms tab, I will go ahead and add in our custom package proposal template. Just like before, I'll click Add at the top to make that fresh copy into the project here. And let's open that up to edit. So again, the same process. We're always adding the form to the project and then editing it within the project. So now, if I click on one of these package elements, certainly if you have different baselines, you can absolutely swap that out to begin with. Or if, this, whatever you put into the template works for you as a baseline, you can skip right to actually editing the details of the package itself. So right up here in the top right-hand corner, we have that edit button. This is actually what allows you to edit the contents of the package. Pretty detailed here. We're now editing the line items of a package inside a proposal entirely within a project. So none of the changes we make are going to affect our master templates and vice versa. So right inside here, I can click on this drop down arrow next to any line item, click edit, and now I could go into the description and fill in the choices that we discussed with the client. I can change the quantity. Maybe they have a different head count. Maybe their selections increase the price. So you can edit any of these pieces here. And when you're done editing a line item, you'll click Save Item. And in this one, we have 2 line items. So here I can use this drop down now. Certainly, you could load up the package template with more line items than most clients need. And maybe you just want to remove the ones that don't apply to them. That is certainly a technique as well. We're going to be actually looking at more in a moment. Or we can just edit this and change the quantity again. So you can see how we're just very quickly updating the particulars of this package to make it work for this client. When you're done editing the line items, down below you'll click Apply. So if you look in the background, you'll notice that the details haven't changed yet. We need to click Apply, and then they will update right there. And again, this is why the smart fields are important. Certainly, you can type whatever you want in here if you want to, customize how the details of the package are laid out. But if you don't use the smart field, when you edit the package or choose a new package, the information won't update. So that's why the smart fields come in handy. And once you've made those changes, you can close that overlay, and now we have these 2 different package options. So you could continue editing this one, you can add another one, whatever you need to do for this particular client. And same as before, we'll save and close. So that's going to save the changes to the proposal on this project, and then you can send it out right as before. All right, the last example is what I call the multi-template master, the multi-package master template. So under forms inside the project, I'm just going to jump to opening this one up, our multi-package master template. This is following from that idea I just mentioned about it is always easier to delete items than it is to add new ones in. So the concept behind this example is that you might be in a line of business where you have a whole bunch of different options. I'm thinking almost like of calligraphers, stationers, where you offer lots of different options, but the entire catalog may not work for every single client. So you want to cut it down before sending the proposal so that the client isn't having to ignore certain options or is choosing between too many. You can use this technique to narrow everything down. So let me go ahead and add this proposal to the project so we can take a closer look. Up at the top, I'll click Edit to open this up to edit. So again, we are in the copy on the project, not the master template under templates and forms. And for this proposal, we have a base package at the top, along with some, a large selection of optional add-ons. And 6 really isn't that large. I've seen proposals with like 20 options plus. So this is great for those situations in particular. Up at the top, though, let's take a quick look at this base package. You might notice that there is no select button. What is that about? So if I click on this package here, it is a package. There's no select button though, and the reason for this is no matter what other add-ons the client selects, I want to require this package to go on their invoice. So this is a great way to get that requirement on there so the client can't miss it. They can't take it off the invoice. And how we do that is actually just by deleting the select button above and marking the package as pre-selected right here. This is super important. If you're going to delete the select button above, make sure that you have checked the pre-selected option down below. Otherwise, it won't get added to the client's invoice at all, and they won't have an option to add it on. So what we're doing is pre-selecting the package so it's already on there. But of course, you can still change out which package this is. You can still go into the edit here and, whoops, let's go back. Here we go. I think you just need to swap out the package before clicking edit to get that to refresh. So certainly you can swap the package out, come in, edit this line item further so you can still fully customize that base package. And then down below, the idea here is that you would create your proposal to include all of the possible options, not necessarily expecting to always send all of them to the client. And maybe be thoughtful in how you lay them out on the proposal, because what we're going to be doing is just deleting the ones that don't apply. So certainly we could come in and just hover over any package, click on the trash can icon, let's take this one out, and it's removed. Or if you maybe use the column element to lay out those options, and you maybe want to lay them out in a way where you could just delete entire groups of them quickly, we can certainly just remove this entire column element of all of these packages at one time. So you can just be mindful in how you set that up on the proposal template so that it's very quick for you to come in and just remove the ones that don't apply to the client. And you'll find that just clicking that little trash can icon is a whole lot quicker than adding in more custom packages. But certainly for any of the packages that remain, you could go in and further customize them as well. The term add-on is just something we use to describe a package that would be, in addition to a base package, but functionally in Dubsado, they're all packages. There's no difference between them. So any of the techniques we went over, again, you can mix and match and combine to create a proposal that works just for you and your business. So I hope that gives you some good ideas to start from. I do just want to quickly touch on the idea of workflows because I know customizing and workflows can sometimes be a little bit tricky to incorporate. It's actually very simple. So if you're sending your proposal through a workflow, I have just an example right here of what that will look like. So this wouldn't be the entire workflow. These would just be the two actions around the portion where you're actually sending the proposal in the workflow. So we have our send form action with the proposal here. And the nice thing about workflows is as soon as you apply a workflow to a project, it's actually going to automatically add in any of the forms it's sending to the Forms tab. So your proposal template is just going to be in the Forms tab of the project, already ready and waiting for you to edit. So you don't need to add it separately. You are just going to edit the one that the workflow adds for you. But what we've done is just above that action, we've added a create to do action, just reminding you to customize the proposal. So anything you need to do manually in a workflow, always a good idea to add in a to do so you don't skip that step. In this case, very important step. And another thing you can use as a kind of a fail-safe is adding an approve button to the send form action. So it's very simple, just this little checkbox here as you're setting up the send form action. And you can certainly turn it off later if you feel you don't need it. But the way this works is because the send form for the proposal is triggered after all previous actions complete, it is going to wait for you to also check off the proceeding to do. So in this setup here, you would have to check off the to do and click approve before the proposal will be sent. So that's a nice, kind of double backup just to make absolutely sure that the proposal is not being sent until you've made your edits. All right, so that's how you'd handle it in a workflow, and that pretty much covers everything to help get you started creating these custom proposals. So again, the big takeaways: when we add a form to a project, it's making a fresh copy. Don't forget that, it really comes in handy. This method of the custom package proposal is looking to be, a stronger alternative to the traditional quote-like proposals with the invoice smart fields. Those invoice smart fields still come in handy though. So in your contract template, certainly add in those invoice smart fields so that the custom package information can be drawn onto the contract after the proposal is submitted. So that's going to keep things streamlined as well. But just from a proposal standpoint, creating the custom package instead of an invoice first is going to give you some better results in the long run. And, also just keeping in mind to be creative with this. I've just gone over some more kind of theoretical examples to walk you through the different techniques, but you're going to want to, kind of mash them up and use what works for your business in particular. And certainly once you create something, if you're still having trouble figuring it out and getting it to work exactly as you want, feel free to book an Account Solutions call with us. We're happy to, help you as much as we can to get it working as you'd like within the, ability of the system. So I hope you have lots of fun creating your custom proposals. I hope that if you weren't able to use proposals before, hopefully now you can. So please enjoy and have a wonderful rest of your day.